Hey everyone, welcome to Kickin' Astro. I'm here with Astrologer Mecca Woods. Welcome, Mecca.
Hey, how
and
are you?
And happy 1 year anniversary.
Yes, happy anniversary.
Yes,
yay, it's been a year kicking Astro.
And to celebrate, we have a Mercury Retrograde in Taurus, which don't be too freaked out about. Mecca will explain why in a little bit.
We'll talk about that.
We also have a full moon in Libra.
Yes.
And it's also still Aries season. Happy birthday,
Happy birthday
Aries.
to all the Aries out there.
So if you have a question about what this means for your love life, what Mercury Retrograde means in general, you can ask those in the comments and Mecca can answer those for you. But first, Mecca's going to tell us a little bit about what to expect this week.
Yes, so it's a really busy week, and I'm sure you guys out there have already kind of feeling that energy already. We have a full moon. If you're on the West Coast or Pacific time, it's actually going to be happening tonight around 9-ish. And on the East Coast, it'll be happening a little after midnight. But basically, this full moon in Libra, it's a really sort of energizing moon, I would say, especially when it comes to love and relationships, because we've had Venus has been retrograde for the past few weeks. Good news is that Venus will be going forward again by April 15th, so we have a little bit more working some things out to do. But I do like this moon that's coming in, even though things are kind of like on edge. I think that this moon is going to help us to have like a clear idea in terms of what we want to do going forward when it comes to our love life. So some people may decide that maybe, they're deciding to move on from a relationship. Some people may decide to sort of recommit to a relationship. But either way, I think that this full moon will give us sort of a very clear idea in terms of what we need to do in terms of, how to better mate and relate with others. Great. Then the other thing about that is we have, of course, Mercury retrograde started last night. And with Mercury retrograde, this is going to be, it's retrograding in Taurus for now, and then eventually it'll move back into Aries around the 20th of this month. With Mercury retrograde in Taurus, it's a really good time to sort of, go very slowly. I think with all the retrogrades, the key piece of advice that I would give to anyone is just really take your time, reflect, review things, fine-tune things. This is a great time to really slow down and take it easy. And in terms of relationships, this is a really good time to work on any communication issues that that you may have with a loved one, or just really figuring out how you can better stand by your word. This is not a good time to overpromise anything or just kind of shoot from the hip. This is a really good time to be very mindful and intentional with the words that you say. So
great.
Yeah.
Okay. So time for reflection, maybe a little bit of spring cleaning.
Right.
But, go ahead.
But I also too, I just wanted to give a quick PSA about that, because last night, I'm frequently on Twitter. I usually talk about different things that are happening in the stars on Twitter, in addition to here at Bustle. And I tweeted about Mercury retrograde, and my mentions just completely blew up with people freaking out, saying, oh, the world is ending kind of thing. And I just want to say, I know, guys, that we are in a really weird or really crazy times right now. There's stuff going on in the world that is really upsetting and can cause a lot of anxiety. But I just want to say that retrogrades are nothing to be afraid of. Retrogrades actually help us to really slow down. This is a good time to start slowing down, to kind of come off of all that hyper movement and activity, that we've been going through. And this is a really good time to kind of take a breath and take a moment. So don't fear the retrogrades. The retrogrades are actually our friends. So just keep that in mind.
No need to panic.
Yes, no need to panic.
Great. So we have a question from Maggie, and she wants to know, what's the best match for a Pisces besides a Cancer?
I would say you can go with a Scorpio, or even an earth sign like Capricorn or Taurus, or even your opposite sign, Virgo. I think Pisces and Virgos make good matches because, I like the opposite, that polarity there, because it's whatever the other one is kind of lacking, the other is sort of bringing to the table. So Pisces help Virgos to kind of, let their hair down a bit, take it easy, not take things so seriously, whereas Virgos can help Pisces to be a little bit more focused and on point when it comes to their day-to-day lives. So I think they can actually make a good blend between the two. So I would say, if you haven't dated a Virgo yet, definitely try one out.
Great. Laura wants to know about the compatibility between Sagittarius and Taurus.
Sagittarius and Taurus. So this is an interesting match because traditionally, Sag and Taurus aren't two signs that would technically go together, because Taurus is an earth sign, Sag is fire. Sag is, we like to be all over the place and be on the go and do things. Whereas Taurus likes, not that they don't like to do things, but they like to have their comfort, their creature comforts. Whereas Sag, we can get very bored very easily. But I think where there's some common ground is that both Taurus and both Sag love to have a good time. They love good food. They love good drinks. There can be a sense of camaraderie there if they, kind of take the time to understand where each other is coming from. So Sagittarius would have to have a little bit more patience. I think Saturn, being in Sag right now is helping, a lot of Sagittarians to kind of mellow out and kind of, slow down a bit. And I think with Taurus now, where you guys are cosmically, it's like, let's try something new. So I think that, you're both in a good place to kind of balance each other out.
Great. We're getting a few questions actually about Libra and Pisces and what their compatibility is like.
Oh, so Libra and Pisces, this may be a more sort of difficult relationship just because Libra is an air sign, Pisces is water. And Libra might not necessarily have the sensitivity that Pisces needs unless, Libra may have some Scorpio going on in their chart, which is not uncommon since Scorpio and Libra sit side by side. However, the other thing too is that both Pisces and Libras are like notoriously, known for flirting. So there could be a little jealousy, that could come up, especially on behalf of the Pisces who wants someone that they can merge with, and they're looking for like a soulmate connection, where Libras can be a little bit flighty at times. But I think if it's more like a casual thing, there's definitely a chance for you guys to have a good time, because both Libra and Pisces are like the romantics, of the zodiac. So, I think Libras can give Pisces the fantasy and the dreaminess that they're looking for, and Pisces can give Libras a little bit more sensitivity. But yeah, this would be definitely a relationship that you would really have to kind of work out, because it wouldn't be something that's like natural,
Yeah. Hannah, her lover is a Cancer, and she's a Leo. And she says that they have a lot of differences, but they love each other to death. And she wants to know just some ways that they can build through their differences.
Well, I actually like Cancers and Leos together, because when I think of Cancer and Leo, so Leo is the sign that is ruled by the sun. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So whenever I think about Leo and Cancers together, I always think about that relationship between the sun and the moon, of how like they kind of like go hand in hand with each other. The sun is out there to shine. The moon kind of plays that supportive role. So Cancers would play the supportive role to the Leo. And I think with Leo, they would just have to be mindful of taking their Cancer for granted, because I think sometimes Leo, because of all that fire and because of all of that star power, they can get really a little too self-centered at times and kind of be like, it's all about me. Whereas Cancers, because they have that need to want to nurture and take care of their loved ones, sometimes they don't always get that energy back. So I think for the Leo, it's definitely really recognizing when you may be taking your Cancer for granted. And Cancer, it's okay to, kind of like tell your Leo, like, do it yourself. They're a big grown up. They can do it on their own. So that might be ways that you can kind of work things out a little bit.
Great. Frankie wants to know, what's the best match for a Gemini besides another Gemini?
Oh, so Gemini, I would say, go for, you can do a Sagittarius, which is your opposite sign. You can also do Leo. You can do Aries. I think Aries and Gemini would actually be a cool match, because both like to be on the go. It could make for a really sort of like exciting sort of whirlwind kind of romance. The only thing I think is that, well, let me take that. I was going to say the commitment issue might be there, but however, I think both Gemini and Aries, they're kind of easy breezy enough that they don't take it personally. So it's kind of like, all right, if we're kind of done here, there's no hard feelings. So I think, exactly. So I think, a fire sign is definitely, something that can work for your air, to help you, stay stimulated and learn new things and have new adventures. But then, like I said, when things get to the point where it's like, all right, we're done here, there's no hard feelings. So, yeah.
Great. Good luck, Frankie.
Yes.
Alyssa wants to know, do Scorpios get along with anybody?
Oh man, my Scorpios. Yes, I'm here to say yes. Please don't read the bad astrology out there that says like, Scorpios don't have, Scorpios are like evil or they don't get along with anyone. Scorpios, I would say, go for Cancers, Pisces, your opposite sign, Taurus, Capricorns, Virgos, just because they, for Pisces and Cancers, they're water signs, so they get your need for that emotional depth and that emotional sensitivity that you have. And whereas earth signs, they will tend to be like the rocks that you need, because most of the times, like Scorpios, because they're so resilient, they can often be like, they can kind of push people away of kind of like, I don't need you, I can take care of myself. But earth signs, love to be needed, and they love to support, the people that they're with. And I think that would be a really great match, for a Scorpio. And plus, they don't scare easy when it comes to some of that, Scorpio intensity. But I tell you this, for anyone's out there, Scorpios, I know a lot of them, and a lot of people get scared, when they think, oh, they're this and they're that. But I think Scorpios are like one of the best lovers that you can have, because once they love you forever. And that's really, really hard to come by. So, hope that makes you feel better.
Corey wants to know about the compatibility between Virgo and Sagittarius.
Virgo and Sag. So this may be a bit of a difficult relationship, just because Virgo and Sagittarius are two signs that we consider, they square each other on the zodiac wheel. So square basically means that there's some tension or a conflict there. That's not to say that it can't work, but it's going to take some extra work to make it work. And that's because Virgo, like I said, is very detail oriented. Virgo likes their structure. Virgo likes to kind of do things by the book, whereas Sag can be very kind of like all over the place and kind of ad hoc with it. And so they can kind of, drive each other a little bit crazy there. But the cool thing about it is that both those signs are very energetic. Sag loves to travel and try new things and talk about all kinds of things under the sun. And Virgo is also a big on learning and exploring too. So I think they may be able to meet in the middle there. So I would say, don't give up on it, but it would be, you're going to have to work on it and making sure that you guys are on the same page.
Great. Another question from Pat, who wants to know if there's any hope between a Libra and an Aquarius.
Oh man, there should be. I mean, Libras and Aquarius, by sun sign standards, are typically one of the best matches, because Libra and Aquarius are both air signs. So, Aquarius and Libra, Aquarius can be sometimes a little bit frustrating because, they like to have things their way, and they can, even though Aquarius, they're known for being kind of like eccentric and kind of, unconventional, sometimes they can get a little stuck in their ways and kind of like wanting to have it their way or the highway, whereas Libra, can be a bit bossy at times. So I can see like where there can be some clashes there, but ultimately, I think right now, in terms of where you guys are cosmically, Libra, this is really a time for you to start kind of focusing on you a little bit more and kind of pulling back from kind of overextending yourself when it comes to relationships, and learning how to draw healthier boundaries when it comes to you and people that you're dating or people that you're in a relationship, in relationship to. And then Aquarius, Aquarius, and they've kind of going through some rough times, but it's been more of kind of like a subconscious kind of thing. And I think right now they're in a place where they're kind of ready to kind of try something new, do things different. So I would just say, again, the things that you do have going for each other is that you're great communicators. So, Mercury Retrograde, this is a great time to start working on that communication and talk things out.
Great. Jasmine wants to know, what's the downside to an Aries and Capricorn relationship?
Oh, good grief. I'm sorry. I don't want to put you off. So, Capricorn and Aries, this is another blend that we, that square each other. So there's a conflict and there's a tension there. Both signs can be quite bossy and kind of, stubborn. Capricorn definitely likes to have, their routines and the things, the way that they like to do it. Aries doesn't like to be told no or what to do. So there can be some clashing there, between those two signs, because especially, with Capricorn and Aries, sometimes they're not so great at listening, and they want to talk and kind of be like I'm right. So I think what you would have to do is just learn to be more compromising. Like if you want it to work, but you know, in terms of like trying to understand where each other is coming from. But again, that's going to take a lot of work and a lot of patience, and Aries are not necessarily known for their patience.
Yeah, no.
So, you know, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but it's going to take a lot of work, you know, between an Aries and a Cap to make it work.
Great. And is there any advice you have for them, especially during Mercury retrograde?
So with Mercury retrograde, I would say, you know, this is a good time for Aries to figure out exactly like what they value in terms of like relationships and you know, getting clear about what you want, especially with this full moon landing in your partnership zone. So this is going to be, you know, this week especially is going to be a lot of aha moments, you know, in terms of like helping you to figure out what's going on in terms of your love life and just relationships in general. And then Capricorn, you know, this is a good time for them to kind of focus more on pleasure, because Capricorns work so hard. Sometimes they deny themselves, you know, a good time. And this is a really good time to think about, you know, not even just in terms of like your love life, but just in terms of like doing more things that make you feel good. So, yeah.
Great. And lastly, we have a few questions about Aries and Libra compatibility.
Aries and Libra, so I like that match because this is, you know, it's a polarity, so it's the opposites attract kind of thing. Aries is a fire sign, so it's going to be very impulsive and passionate. I think Aries brings that, not only does Aries bring the passion to the table, but Aries can show Libra like how to like really kind of go for things that they want and, you know, be very inspiring. Whereas Libra, I think, can show Aries how to play fair. How to be, you know, how to be nice, how to think about others before they think about themselves. And again, because this is a fire and air combination, there's going to be a lot of stuff to do, a lot of conversations to be had, a lot of different things and experiences to be had. So I do like that match together.
Yeah, it sounds exciting.
It does. It does.
Well, thank you so much, Mecca.
Thank you.
And happy 1 year anniversary.
Happy 1 year anniversary to you.
And if you want to check out more of Mecca's horoscopes, you can go to mylifecreated.com. You can go to bustle.com. You can see her daily horoscopes, her weekly horoscopes, and her monthly horoscopes.
Yes.
Thanks.